lately on the CES stage in Las Vegas, now available around the globe or coming in the next days, the Huawei Mate 8. And it's really interesting because first, it's great crafted and classy with this aluminum unibody on the backside here. Love that on previous Huawei's, still great. Fingerprint sensor, of course, and especially that huge 6-inch display. Look at this here, and especially watch these tiny frames on the side and on the top and bottom here. So you can measure that 78% of the front area from the housing is really indeed display. So that's not only 12% more than usual these days, but already new record, #1. So you can say that the Mate 8 is making the most out of the giving housing size in terms of display size. Wonderful. But size is not resolution, so it's just full HD. Maybe a little bit closer so that you can see here these tiny text below there. You can read them, no problem at all. But could have been a little bit better for the price. It's 368 ppi, that's 21% below the average of all smartphones I've tested in the last 12 months, though it's not the best one, and especially for the price. Here in Germany, Europe, we're talking about 599 euros. That's not really a bargain, and we're talking about the small version. You know, there are two different versions, 32 gigabyte net memory, 23 of that, and 3 gigabyte of RAM for 599 euros. And in some markets, you will find a 64 gigabyte version plus 4 gigabyte of RAM. That would have been interesting, especially if you would think that you have here under that slot the combination slot, you know, from Huawei. So you have the choice whether to insert a memory card and expand the memory, micro SD card, or to insert a second nano SIM. So everybody who wants to use dual SIM would be interested in the 64 gigabyte version, I guess. So unfortunately, it's not available, not at least at the moment, in all countries. So we have to see. And for 599 for the small version and just full HD, it's a little bit disappointing. But on the other hand, you have other features. Maybe the money went there, I don't know. For example, 16 gigabyte camera here, Sony sensor, and especially optical image stabilizer. So I hope for really good photo and video quality. You'll find that in the final test, like always, as text on my website here on mobiwatch.net in, let's say, 1 week, 1.5, something like that. Dual tone flash video, not in 4K but in full HD. So on the front it's full HD video too, and photos with 8 megapixels. And especially, no processor, Kirin 950. First time, so I do not have any experience with that, but it's sounding very well. Not only because you have 16 nanometer processing, but also you have a new Cortex A72 architecture. 4 cores of that, 2.3 gigahertz, and the other 4 cores, classical Cortex A43, 1.8 gigahertz, and you have that new coprocessor i5 and that new graphic unit. It's called Mali T880. So let's wait for the final test and the benchmark results, but I hope big. Let's wait for that, and let me go a little bit, zoom out a little bit more so that you can see totally that device. I just wanted to mention that you have, of course, LTE 4G with 300 megabit per second, Wi-Fi AC, Bluetooth 4.2, so the actual version, the current version, NFC, and last of all, Android 6.1. And you have seen already, user interface is the same like always, even if it's called now Emotion UI 4.0. No big changes. For example, you have here advanced settings, things you do not know use very often. So same procedure, like you know that, like everywhere from Huawei. What I wanted to tell you is about the battery runtime test, because again, built, fixed in, you cannot change it by yourself immediately, but 4,000 milliamps, that's huge even for that big display, and so are the results of the runtime tests. So like always, video in with 200 nits and flight mode. Here the Mate 8 made it for 455 minutes. That's 15% above the average, and especially if you calculate how big the screen is, this is 52% above the average, meaning that Huawei is really making a lot of the given resources here. So even for the big display, long runtime, everything in green. And especially if you think of recharging, well, you have from 0 to 100%, it's 154 minutes. That's 15% at least above the average compared to the, if you think of the huge battery again, so 15% once more above the average. So it's not the slowest one, it's setting no new record, it's not turbocharging or everything, but it's quite okay, let's call it like that. So everything a thumbs up at the moment, I have to say. We have to wait for the final test, of course, like always, especially picture quality and how the Kirin 950 is doing. But on the first side, I would say really, really nicely crafted. And even from a size, it's not feeling that big like it is. So it's okay. We're talking about 81 by 157 millimeters and 185 grams. So it's no compact phone. But on the other hand, especially because of these little edges here for this huge screen, it's kind of okay. It's feeling, the first contact is, wow, it's smaller than we would have thought. So it's kind of okay for that too. So everything okay just for the price. So let's wait, or maybe in your country the prices are all right. So let me know, let me give me your prices and your countries in the comments below, and especially what you think about the Huawei Mate 8. That's the first impression. Thanks for watching, take care and bye.